So Dune Part 2, looking like it could cross, or at least hit, $200 million opening weekend worldwide, which is respectable. Not absolutely incredible, but it is respectable. I enjoyed this film for what it is. I thought it was pretty decent, but we got all these articles now coming out going, how? How did a Space Worm epic get 81.5 opening after a strike release delay, blah blah blah. So this is the Sunday AM box office update. We'll take a look at this one first because I've got the Saturday update and it's interesting how things change. Now, here's subscribe if you're new here, turn the bell notifications on, and yeah, follow and all that good stuff over on Twitter at Mistakes Reviews. So I think this will be carried by word of mouth, right? I think it'll be word of mouth that moves this forward. I think it's going to have a really strong opening, and then word of mouth carries it, as people go, hey, that's a really good sci-fi film, actually. I understand loads of people have some issues with some changes to some characters here and there, and the sort of how they interact and that. I get it. From the book, it is a little bit different. But I still had fun with the film. It is still a very decent film. So I think it'll be word of mouth that carries it, absolutely. But it is interesting looking at these articles. And we'll probably update tomorrow as well, just to, fully confirm, I guess. But the Saturday update says Warner Brothers Legendary Entertainment Dune Part 2 continued its offshore rollout on Friday, which was, the UK, because it had only just been released on Saturday morning, Friday night, 12 a.m. Technically Saturday. So added 16 markets this weekend from Friday onwards, which added another $20.8 million. So the international total is 42.4, which is, a hell of a lot, actually. And that's across 3 days, across 71 markets total, and including previews. China and Japan release later this month. I think it'll do pretty well in China, just because of what, the sort of... I just think it'll do well. I don't know why, I just think it will. I think it'll resonate with people. So 42.4 across 3 days. Not bad. It's not absolutely exceptional. But also that's what they're guessing at this stage. So what they're saying is overseas they reckon it will hit $85+ million. And the domestic projections overall, they're thinking 160 million. But, and by the way, it's all IMAX. So they'll be getting more money because it's IMAX anyway. So what I think is interesting is the screens that they're using. They're using quite a lot of screens, actually. So Dune Part 2 opening on Friday was the UK with 3.6 million from 2,000 screens. That's a lot for the UK. That's a lot. Nearly 700% higher than the number 2 movie. So the launch is higher than Villeneuve's Dune by 187%. So it should actually technically be significantly higher. UK has absolutely destroying the IMAX. They're loving it, 19%. But let's get into what they're saying now and whether this is going to do really well. I still think 200 million. I could be wrong, but I think so. So they start talking about bloody social media again. Social media draw of 600 million, bolstered by Zendaya, Dave Bautista, Timothy Chalamet, Florence Pugh, Austin Butler. The move for legendary Warner Brothers Dune Part 2 from the strike-stricken desert of the first weekend of November to early March has yielded 81.5 opening weekend. So they are reckoning, it's going up a little bit. So total admissions is 5.2 million, which is quite a lot. 70% of the weekend's entire foot traffic. So everyone going to theatres this weekend, the majority was to see Dune Part 2. They make some comments about some marketing, etc. Fine, sure. But this is how they're sort of breaking it down and how they're expecting it to do well. And it is interesting, I think. So first trailer, cultural moment, apparently, out last year's CinemaCon. So, it ran alongside Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Fast X, etc. Did pretty well. 282 million social media reach, trending in 19 markets on Twitter, 29 markets on YouTube. The trailer was the number 1 trending video on YouTube in the US and number 1 in entertainment. At 24 hours, social volume trended ahead of comps. Because this is how they do it now, by the way, guys. This is how they estimate a lot of the traffic. And this is why people are like, oh, hate watching's bad, because they just count views. They don't care. They don't care if it's got good reviews or not. If it's getting lots of views, they're like, oh, that's really good. People like it. No, mate. It's like She-Hulk, for instance. People genuinely thought that was a success. No, it's terrible. People were hate watching. That's bad. And this is what they do. This is how they do it now. #1 trending video on YouTube. But I will say, with respect to this whole, you know, YouTube and stuff, when it comes to this anyway, the likes, the dislikes are important, and you know they're pretty right. I think, at least in this instance, it doesn't account for everything, of course. So it's done pretty well. Like overall, not bad. This is how sort of they're, I guess, calculating it downwards. I still think, and I do, they've got like, so many integrations. Jesus, what is this? Loads of integrations here. Govee does a backlight. Okay. All right, sure, fine. These watches are awful. My God, limited edition watches from Hamilton. They're terrible. There was a car partner in China, Neo, as well. They're doing loads of stuff. I think it will get close to the 200 million mark. I could be wrong. They're normally right, in fairness. So Deadline's normally right when they say the debut is going to be 160 million. Normally, they'll be bang on. So I don't know why. I just think it'll do a little bit more, but I'm going to be wrong for sure because they're pretty much bang on all the time. But I think 160. This article, for instance, is like, oh, potentially 200. Potentially $200 million. And this is what they think. Some analysts are saying it could hit 200 million. I personally think it could. Had an A cinema score. Rotten Tomatoes. Everyone loves it on Rotten Tomatoes as well. Which, who cares about that, but still matters. The first did 433 million global. And there's not really much to go up against it. Kung Fu Panda 4, Imaginary, which is a horror film. Kung Fu Panda is clearly not a horror film. I don't think they will do particularly well up against it at the very least. I think this will carry it through, at least for a couple more weeks. This will now destroy every single film out there for a while. What do you guys think? Not much else to say, really, to be honest. $200 million global, potentially. I still think it'll do that. And I think that, even though I know Deadline's usually correct with their projections. So... oh dear. So I still think it's maybe. But does it earn it in your eyes, ladies and gents? Because some people didn't like this film. Some people thought it was woke. So what do you think? Let me know down below. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.